Hi everyone, Joshua Hanlon here at the Brickmania headquarters in Minneapolis, and today I'm joined by Lando, and he's going to be taking us through some of the behind the scenes of the way that you guys design minifigs here at Brickmania.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's get right into it. I have a whole bunch of cool minifigures here. So in these backgrounds, these are my first kind of generation of minifigures, and I think we've come a little way since then. So here's an example of one of my latest minifigures compared to Generation 1. Just a totally different, what we're looking at here. So this is the Filthy 13 paratrooper, airborne paratrooper from World War II on D-Day. And he is decked out in just a tons of different gear on this guy. You can just see how far we've kind of come. One with just like, our capabilities, we were having to outsource this to a different company to get these printed for us. Now we can do this all in-house. So that just, the turnaround time is, it's like instantaneous, where the guys in the print shop can look at my artwork, and if they have questions, they can just walk over and ask me. So it's totally changed how we're doing stuff here. And then just, I've had a lot of practice since then, and so that's been a ton of fun, just refining just all the different details. So this guy's cool. It's prior to a little bit of backstory with this. These are Filthy 13 paratroopers, and prior to D-Day, or just like when they're getting on the airplane, they would the airplanes were painted in these invasion stripes, and they actually took that paint and kind of painted themselves up, just getting ready for battle using that paint on their face. So that's kind of a really intense looking minifigure, very iconic of that era.
Yeah, that face design is certainly really unique there.
Yeah, and then they shaved their heads with these mohawks, just getting ready for battle. I mean, it's kind of like they're about to embark on one of the most dangerous missions ever. Even to this day, it's pretty insane what they did. The uniform, was playing around with a lot of different techniques here. We actually started off on a dark tan minifigure, and I've been practicing or experimenting with a lot of color shifting actually. So if you want to compare these two, let's look at the back of the legs. Maybe it's back of the legs is a better indicator, and I have another set of legs here. I'm actually able to shift that color a little bit away from that dark tan, and to get it closer to that historically accurate, slightly olive color.
Yeah.
And along with like grime and dirt. I mean, these guys have been in battle. Just really intense stuff. So their uniforms are filthy, hence the name Filthy 13. They wouldn't, their bathing standards weren't quite up to par apparently.
But that's all just through the printing process.
Yes.
You can even get those slight color variations and that sort of thing all through the printing.
Yeah, and the helmet here, this is a Brick Arms steel pot helmet, and I'm doing some texture printing on the front of that for that med kit. And just printing all around that. There's the scrimmage on the side, the little burlap strips there just for camouflage. So. And then I have a perfect caliber weapon here as well. So that's a Brick Arms, and Slam put together the artwork for this one actually. He's got some very nice wood grain on that as well. But it's just kind of cool to see how far that we've had the I guess opportunity to take these minifigures. It's been a ton of fun to do this.
Is there a certain limit or ceiling to the level of detail you can include on a minifig where you find it starts getting too busy or something, or it just doesn't work out well?
Yeah, I guess early on I started exploring like how much more detail that I can add to a standard Lego minifigure. But I think early on maybe it was a little bit ambitious. Let's look at this this German guy here. This is one of my earlier designs. I was trying to play around with reflections on the belt, and I mean, it's okay for back then, but maybe it was a little bit too much detail on that belt, and it was just maybe I dialed it back a little bit for a while. So I've slowly started reintroducing more and more detail. It's really about trying to find that balance on how much detail is too much. I mean, in some people's opinion, these might be a little bit overly detailed, but if you also look at the history of Lego and where Lego has taken it, I think it is kind of the logical progression of where Lego is maybe headed.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. It's fun to make it in any case. So it's I've taken a lot of inspiration from military model painters, so the miniature models. It's just really fun seeing how much detail they can pack into something so small, but yet it still be recognizable. Because it's not just scaling down artwork. It's actually, there's certain things that are exaggerated. Just like on a minifigure, like his head is like 4 feet across, right? And those hands could hold on to like coffee cans, right? Like those are huge claws that minifigures have. So it is an exaggerated style that we're dealing with in Lego. So really finding that balance of detail, exaggerated detail, when to include it and when not to. So it's been a ton of fun. I guess on my screen here, I've been my latest project that I've been working on yesterday and today would be the Apollo 11 astronauts. So Lego just released their lunar lander set, and the minifigure, while it's simple, I thought, man, we could probably add some more detail to that. So I have. This is just very, very, very early stages. I haven't even started sketching. That's usually one of my first. So my first process is I'm gathering my source material. So I have a bunch of images on the screen here of this suit. The A7-L suit is what this is, and just trying to find as many source pictures, good, clear source pictures as I can get a hold of. From there, I'll look at previous designs, because it's kind of like with when you're designing a minifigure, a lot of the it's similar to designing a set in some ways, in that there are a lot of elements that I've already made before. So there's belts, there's boots. So these are each little pieces essentially. And if I've already made this in the past, one, that saves me a lot of time, and two, it makes the style fairly consistent. So it's kind of, it's nice to be able to find pieces from older artwork that I might be able to use again or update a little bit. So I have two previous designs here. One's the Navy Mark IV suit, and then the next one would be a more modern advanced crew escape suit. And I'm trying to see if there's any elements from these suits that I can use on this newest suit. So there's some similarities, but there's a little bit of this background texture. Kind of this, I've actually made this background texture before. This is kind of like leading up to this Filthy 13 minifigure actually. And so this isn't, I'm not necessarily printing this orange color on this minifigure. I'd actually be printing more of like a light gray that I'm letting the Lego shine through that ink. So it's not just blasting this with ink.
Yeah.
This is actually just, it's color mixing is really what this is. Which is, it's kind of funny. This is like beginning art school stuff. You wouldn't necessarily think you'd be using this, but it's cool. It's a direct application here. So that's been a lot of fun, trying to play around with how much detail can I add to stuff before it becomes, too much. Like, so right, some stuff's more successful than others. After that, I'll gather all my source images and previous work, and I'll sit down and I'll sketch it out. I'm not very good at drawing, but I find that sketching is one of the quickest ways to, it's a lot faster than actually trying to build something on the computer. You can make a bunch of small multiples just by sketching it out. Even if it's rough and looks awful, it still helps you kind of figure out placement of all the different pieces ahead of time. And then from there, I'll start actually building it on the computer. So that's the most basic part of the minifigure design. From there, there's a lot of technical stuff, working with the printers, finding part costs, seeing if it's available, right? Because certain colors you just can't get a hold of in quantity, or it's tough to. So that's another consideration for all this. But so there's a lot that goes into it, and it's been kind of a blast to do all this.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's certainly great to see how you've advanced over the years. Is there any part of the minifig you can't print on at this point, or can you pretty much any detail you want to add, back, front, bottom, anything is there? What's
the newest thing I have a printing on the back of the neck, right?
Oh, okay.
That's the newest edition. I signed the back of the back of the legs as well. So.
Oh no, that's really cool. Inside there, yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe there's top of the shoulders. We can't hit those, at least not at the moment.
Yeah.
With pad printing, I've seen some attempts at it, and it's all right. We actually have a bunch of stickers that we produce that you can get on top of the shoulders, and it looks really, really slick. So that's kind of another area that we're exploring as well. But yeah, minifigures are one of my favorite part about Lego, and so it's been a lot of fun to make these. Yeah. Right on.
Just keep experimenting. And what's this one here?
So this is a World War I stormtrooper. So this is like late World War I German, just in the trenches, just fighting, just insane battles, right?
Yeah.
World War I is one of the craziest military conflicts, you know, in history. Honestly, it's so many new technologies and weapons just completely changed how we fought warfare, right? And this is kind of you know, at the end of the war, Germany's kind of in shambles, and this is sort of a last-ditch attempt. You know, he's decked out with armor. I don't know if we can get in better light here. Maybe if that'll help a bit. But yeah, he's decked out in this like lobster armor. He's got this machine pistol. It's a kind of a late war technology there. And then it's interesting seeing that juxtaposition of this high-tech stuff along with, and he's got a trench mace, right? Like that's just like primitive weapons meets the highest technology. And of course, the gas mask, because that was another insane part about World War I, is that using chemical weapons like that during warfare. So, yeah, it's been, you know, that's one of my favorite things about Brickmania is just learning about so much about history. And I really do think that Lego is one of the best ways to learn about history. Honestly, it's such a hands-on thing, and I've seen kids like put together entire research papers just trying to like design their little dioramas more correctly, and they're doing it for fun, you know. It's so cool to see stuff like that, and it's cool to be to I guess help them out in some respects to achieve those really cool builds. So,
from a historical research perspective on the kind of the minifig specifically, do you ever talk with sort of like veterans or people who use the uniforms that you're designing, and they ask them about kind of how they actually operated in them, or the different things they might add or take away from the uniform, or kind of get more of that sort of source material in there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, the more modern conflicts, that's a little more feasible.
Yeah.
You can only go so far back, but you know, we have some we're in contact with some Vietnam veterans, and I know Dan's been working closely with some just on his models, and it is interesting. I like the feedback that I'll get. It's like, man, this uniform, like this is the right one. That's like one of my favorite I guess compliments is when they like say like, oh, that's spot on. Like I wore that, you know. Obviously, you know, I know World War I stuff, but the Vietnam era stuff, you know, there's been some veterans that like, yeah, you got the right jacket, or it's the, you know, right boots and stuff like that. It's cool to see that. And I guess that's another area that's really cool to see, like, with veterans. Maybe, you know, it's not always easy to talk about that kind of stuff after the fact, but through the Brickmania kits and minifigures, like maybe it's a bit more of, you know, they can revisit that without it being, you know, kind of too intense, I guess maybe. It's good to see that. It's a nice opportunity that, yeah, I get to see that. And then, yeah, even more for modern uniforms, I've had some friends in the Marines, like, you know, send me pictures of their gear actually that they were wearing.
Yeah.
So that was cool to get to. I designed a Marine minifigure that was, yeah, it's based off of, you know, firsthand, you know, stuff, I guess, directly from a Marine. So very cool stuff.
Do you get the opportunity to work on sort of non-purely military minifig design for things at Brickmania, or are there other types of minifigs at all that you're helping design?
Non-military. I mean, this spacesuit, obviously, this is not directly military anyway. I've been at Brickmania for like 6 years, and it's kind of, you know, I started sorting parts. Was initially the first thing. It's been a lot of fun doing the minifigures. That's one of my favorite parts, and even just like, you know, helping to see this brand grow. So it's cool. A lot of fun.
For sure, yeah. It's been great to watch as well. So
yeah. Thank
you for the insight into the minifigs here. Did you have anything else you wanted to show us?
Let's see. It's a lot of fun trying to find first-hand objects to base artwork off of.
Okay.
I was working on some stencils, and you know, there's all these stencil fonts that you can find online. But it's like, you know what? Like, we can actually like get real stencil machines. So I went out and bought a stencil machine here. And it looks like a giant waffle maker, but it's really cool. I just wanted to show this thing. It's so sweet. So this would be like World War II era, maybe after World War II a little bit, but this would be very similar, these kind of stencils, to what they would use to like spray paint onto their gear or onto the side of vehicles. So I wanted to use the real thing. So I got a hold of one of these. Let's make one here. So it's a giant wheel on top. You line it up in here. There we go. And you flip the locking mechanism, Here we go.
Looks like quite the heavy piece of equipment.
This was someone's full-time job. There we go.
Oh, nice.
Very cool. And then from there, you'd spray paint it or roller it on. So beyond the brick. I'll finish it up later.
Yeah, no, that's great. We can start stenciling it on,
absolutely.
The door frames at home.
Only on stuff that you're allowed to stencil on.
Okay. Thank you for that.
I don't know, beyond the brick, is that you guys are just out there graffitiing stuff up.
That's right. That's what we do with our spare time when we are at Lego conventions.
Absolutely. So cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah, this is great. It's good to see your whole kind of operation here and all the work you put into minifigs. That's always fantastic, and I think that's certainly a big part of what makes Brickmania so awesome. So thank you.
Thank you.